and it's time for part two of our Highlights magazine. So, as you will note, in my last video, I had to stop it because that was on Wednesday. But now, can you believe? Let me see how many days that was ago. So, that was on the third day of the week, and now it's the sixth day of the week. So, that was 3 days ago. Could you believe that? I haven't made a video in 3 whole days. 3 whole days. But I thought I'd make it up to you guys, and we are going to try to make as many videos as I can today. Because today is Saturday, and we have to fill in a week ago's video. So remember last time it was my dinner time, and I had to have dinner early that night because on Wednesdays I have cheerleading. And so I had to eat my dinner early. So that's why I had to go. So it's time for part 2 of Wednesday. We could have been in a week ago's Thursday video, but we're on Wednesday's video. So I'm going to give you some updates about what we're doing and what's happening in the future. So today is Saturday. It's the first day of the weekend, and which means that I got out of school yesterday. And I know you guys probably wish that we had a 3-day weekend, but it's only a 2-day weekend. So, yeah, I wish that there was a 3-day weekend, like we could have a Monday off, because the week starts on Sunday. So I wish we started on Friday instead. And so, yeah. And so some other updates are today, all we're doing is going to a playground, but as you will know, it is freezing out there. It should be snowing today, but it's not. Sometimes it could be really cold and it's not even snowing, and sometimes it could be in 80 degrees and it's snowing. Sometimes it could be weird. So we don't really have any plans for today. If today was a little bit warmer, then we'd be going somewhere, maybe out to eat at a picnic table. But today is a soggy day. So we have no plans for today, but we do have work. We might consider it, but we might go to a park after lunch. We might go to a park, but if it's too cold, we're going to see how the weather is by then. My mom is getting us bagels for lunch, and if it's too cold, then we'll just stay home. I hate cold days because then you don't really get to go anywhere. But when it's super hot, you get to go somewhere. But don't worry, next weekend is supposed to be really hot, but that's okay. I already have a busy weekend next weekend. So this weekend, we don't really have anything to do. But let me tell you about what's happening next weekend. So next weekend, on Friday, I actually make my first communion at school. As you know, I already made my first communion 6 days ago. And that feels crazy. But I'm going to make it again on Friday, May 14th. And I'm going to make it with all my classmates. And I get to leave school at 9 o'clock. That's crazy, isn't it? I get to have lunch at home. And then May 16th is my cheerleading showcase. That's on a Sunday. And it's supposed to be hot that day. So, I'm going to show you one of my dances. Alright. Blazers, get fired up. Let's get fired up. Blue and gold, go. Blue and gold, go. Blue and gold, go. Okay, maybe my shirt is a little too long. Here, let me do something. Does that look too tucked in now? Here, let me do this. You could still see all of it, right? Okay. Blazers, fans, put it all together, yell, let's go Blazers. Come on, blue and gold. Okay, I messed up the dance. Okay. Blazers, fans, put it all together, yell, let's go Blazers. Come on, blue and gold. Come on, let's go Blazers. Come on, blue and gold. 2, 3, let's go Blazers. Okay, I sounded a little weird up there. Okay, so that's my showcase, and on Saturday, as I told you, something very special is happening on Saturday, May 15th. So you guys have to try and guess what that thing is. Comment down below if you didn't guess. Guess what that special thing is on May 15th, in between my cheerleading showcase and my second communion at my school. Decide what that is. And this is a flyer. And as you can see, the date says May 7th, and that was yesterday. So, we love the Super Kids. To celebrate, students are invited to dress up as their favorite Super Kid. So, these are all of the Super Kids right here. And I dressed up as Ms. Blossom. And so, yeah, that was yesterday. And by the way, tomorrow is Mother's Day, so get your Mother's Day presents out. And that's why I'm reminding you, because some people might even forget Mother's Day. I hope not. All right, so as you know, we are on our Super magazine. We're going to read 3 articles today because of last time. This is just a left off page. So it looks like this article is actually a story called Sigrid's Trade. Sigrid's Trade. I wonder what Sigrid's Trade would mean. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and read to you the story, and we'll see what Sigrid's Trade is all about. Sigrid's Trade by Tony Heelis. Art by Dave Soleil. Sigrid finished milking the cow and stepped out of the barn into the cold air. It was almost summer, but icebergs still filled the fjord. She set the bucket down. The milk reached only halfway to the top. If we don't get more food soon, she thought, we'll have to eat the cow. And then what will we do? Sigrid's grandfather told her that when their Norse incinerators first came to Greenland, the fields were rich with grass. But in recent years, the climate was getting colder and the summers shorter. When her grandfather was a boy, there were 10 cows in the family's barn. Now there was just 1, and the family had barely enough hay to feed it. Sigrid stuffed her hands into her pockets to warm them. Her fingers felt her most prized possession, a piece of red cloth she's had. So this is starting off to be kind of a sad story. What is happening so far? That's right. Sigrid said that she doesn't have any food and the summer is going to be shorter. So it looks like she's trying her hardest to try to get food and water and shelter. So movement on the water caught Sigrid's eyes. See? So there's the cow. There's her shelter. She lives in a barn with animals. Could you believe that? Alright, so it's time for the second half of the story. Since she was a small girl, she took the cloth out of her pocket and left it unfolded. It was barely longer than her arm, but its brilliant color was bright against the stark landscape. The cloth had once been part of a dress. In happier, more prosperous times, nobody had dresses like that anymore. With ice-filled seas, ships no longer arrived with foods and goods to trade. Movement on the water caught Sigrid's eye. A yak glided between the icebergs. An Unnik boy about Sigrid's age was looking her way, staring at the red cloth, fluttering in the breeze. A harpin was tied to the front of his cank, and dragging behind the cank was a dead seal. Sigrid knew there had been fights between the Ainu and the Norse. She looked toward her house. Should she run for it? But the boy had a kind face, and he did not reach for his harpin. The boy stopped paddling at the edge of the shore, still staring at the red cloth. Sigrid knew that a seal would feed her family for a long time. Sigrid moved slowly down the slope and stopped at the water's edge, barely 10 paces from the boy and his harpin, but he didn't move. She held out the red cloth and then pointed to the seal. Setting the cloth on a rock, she backed away. The boy stepped out of his boat and felt the cloth. He nodded at Sigrid. Then, this is really a sad story. She found a dead seal. Is that appropriate? I don't know. I don't know if this is appropriate, but I guess it has to be appropriate. Because this is for me. They know my age and everything. Alright, so let's look at the third half of the story. United the seal and pulled it up onto the beach. Picking up the cloth, he got back into the yank. "Thank you," said Sigrid. The boy smiled and said something in his own language. Sigrid didn't understand his words, but she smiled back at him. With a quick stroke of his paddle, he headed toward the sea. Then he turned and waved to Sigrid. Sigrid raised her hand. She watched the boy until his boat was a speck on the horizon. Then she hurried toward her house, calling for someone to help her bring in the seal. H. Alright, so that was the end of the story with Sigrid's trade. So what happened in that story? So she found a dead seal, and what did she do? She got help from the boy, and it looks like she really appreciates it, right? So a seal would feed her family for a long time. Do you think that would be true? I don't know. So they have a huge earth here, and she lives in Greenland. So let's look in this little earth where Greenland is. So right here is Greenland. See it? That purple dot right there is Greenland. And it looks like they have an article about Greenland right at the bottom of the story. Let's read it. The Norse colony. Greenland has one of the harshest climates in the world. Indigenous peoples have lived there for more than 4,000 years and have adapted to the cold about 1,000 years ago. Parts of the planet, including Greenland, became warmer. Norseman Eric the Red and others left Iceland to settle on Greenland's southwestern coast, which was not inhabited at the time. The colony grew to 3,000 people after 350 years. That area cooled again, and the colony would no longer thrive. Ooh, so that's the Norse colony. That's where Sigrid lives. Alright, so we are done with the story Sigrid's Trade, and we are moving on to party creatures. Does anyone know what party creatures are? That's right, they're stuff that you would need to make a party. So, let's look at the first column. So, these are stuff to make a party, but if your birthday had already passed and you still want to have a birthday party after your birthday, but this is what you'll need. So, these are the first step. Fuzzy sticks, a balloon, tape, a hole puncher, cardboard tube, cardstock, wiggle eyes, pom-poms, curly quin, and striped sand. Okay, so the first step is tie a balloon. So that's the first step. Take a balloon and tie it. Cut off the end opposite the knot. So, like, after you blow up a balloon, cut off that little, end. Stretch the opening around the end of a 4-inch long cardboard tube. So that means, cut 4 inches off, kind of. Yeah, like a toilet paper tube or a cardboard tube. Alright, so use tape to hold the balloon in place. So, that's what the tape is for. So you could use some tape to kind of hold the balloon together. So kind of popping. Alright, so tape cardstock around the tube. So it could be kind of like a wall, like wallpaper kind of, or a little bit of speedway, kind of like that. Next step. Decorate with fuzzy sticks, wiggle eyes, pom-poms, and other materials. So that's what the pom-poms are for, the wiggly eyes. So you could kind of get wiggly eyes and stuff. Next step. Use a hole puncher to make confetti from cardstock. So get the hole puncher and get a confetti stock, kind of like what they're doing in this picture here. Here are some tips. What kind will you create? Yeah. Alright, next step. To launch the confetti, put it in the tube. So to launch the confetti, you're going to want to push it down, push the confetti through, kind of like this. Alright. Next step. Hold the creature with one hand and pull the balloon knot with the other. Kind of like that. And the last step. Aim, then release the knot. Oh wait, that's the last step. So kind of release the knot. Happy New Year! This would be a good step for New Year. That's what a party is for New Year. That's perfect. Alright, so it's time for our last article of the day. So our next article wait, there's some stuff that I didn't read to you guys about the last article. Tape on the balloon like this. Oh, so you're supposed to do this. Oh, yeah, like that. That. And pop and pat. I think that's good. Okay, now we can move on. North Stars by Gail Storr Mackenzie. Oh, North Stars. I wonder what those could be about. North Stars. I wonder what those are all about. Well, we're going to read about North Stars. All right, so North Stars by Gail Strohbach Hensey.